Hello, hello. It's another Thursday. It's raining again. Dog curled up in the corner behind me, so hopefully he doesn't make any exciting appearances today. I am really looking forward to today's topic. It's something that's really near and dear to me and a tool that I often use myself to check in during different times of year, during different seasons of life. And it really is the foundation for everything else that I'm getting a alert here. Really the foundation for everything else that I teach and share with my clients. So I'm hoping that this is recording properly. Facebook seems upset with me about something on my video right now. Anyway, so I'm sure you've heard this saying before. I don't know where it originated. I heard someone else, repeat it on a podcast the other day, and I was like, yes, that's what has been on my mind lately, is that idea that you can do it all, but you can't do it all at the same time, right? So we have to make choices about where our time goes and where our energy goes. And we want to be intentional about those choices if we're really going to create the life that we want to have. So today I'm going to walk you through some exercises to really help you identify some key areas of your life that you want to be giving good chunks of your time and energy to. And then we're going to also just kind of think a little bit more about those, start maybe daydreaming, brainstorming a little bit about what some of our goals and priorities are in those different areas of our lives. So today's live is going to be super practical, super actionable. So grab a pen and paper if you can, or open up a Google Doc, because I'm going to walk you through some steps that you're going to want to write down and come back to later. We really are setting out to identify some big picture priorities in your life and in this season of your life specifically, so that you can make those intentional choices for yourself and start transforming your days, your schedule, your to-do lists, so that they reflect the things that are actually the most important to you. So before we go too much further, if you don't know me, I'm Jenna, and I help women create systems and rhythms for both their homes and their businesses so that you have more time and energy for the things that bring you joy and fulfillment. So very closely connected to our topic for today. Just a little bit about me. I have a lot of different roles, a lot of different interests, a lot of different parts of my life, like we all do. I am a wife. I am a mom to 2 boys. I have a dog. I do not call myself a dog mom. Fine if you do. And I also own my own business. And I have a lot of personal hobbies and interests as well. I love gardening and hiking and kayaking. And I play in a women's flag football league. And I take pottery classes. And I watch Jeopardy every day. And someday I'm going to be on there. You just wait and see. And ultimately, I believe very deeply that we are all meant to have really rich, well-rounded, fulfilling lives. And so that's really why I'm here. That's why I'm here talking to you today and doing the work that I do, is because I want to help more women live those full lives that aren't just busy, but feel really satisfying and joyful. We are not meant to throw everything we have into raising our kids. We're not meant to throw everything we have into caring for our homes. We're not meant to throw everything that we have into growing our businesses. We all have these different parts and different pieces of our lives. And we also have all these different parts and pieces and sides of ourselves, our personalities, our interests, our desires. And I believe we can create a scenario where there's enough room for all of it. But in order to do that, we have to prioritize, because we cannot do it all at the same time. We can't be doing everything all the time. And so that's what we're diving into today, is starting to identify some of those key areas in your life that you want to give your time and energy to, because we have a finite amount of both. right? And if you don't make choices about how you allocate that time and energy, someone else is going to make that choice for you, or you're going to be floating and rushing and doing whatever, just kind of like making it through your days and weeks, and you look back and just wonder what just happened. Where did the day go? Where did the week go? Where did that year go? What did I do with it? Why didn't I do X, Y, or Z thing that I wanted to do? And that, of course, is not what I want for you, right? We want to make choices for ourselves about how we spend our lives, and then get to work actually making that scenario happen. So today I'm going to take you through a few different steps to getting started doing this, getting started to getting more clear on what that ideal life or ideal scenario looks like for you. Because I think for a lot of people, we know that we want something different. You know that you don't want to be living in a constant state of chaos. You know that you've been putting things off that you've been wanting to do for a long time, or that there are things that are important to you, but they're getting pushed to the back burner because other things feel more urgent, right? But sometimes, even if we sit down to start to make a plan, we're not always clear on where it is we're trying to go. So that's what today is all about. If you've got a pen and paper, grab it now. You're going to want it. And the first thing that we're going to do is identify 3 to 5 key areas of your life. I like to think of these as buckets. They're pretty broad. They're like the big categories of your life. All right. And then each of these buckets is going to hold a lot of things. So we'll go a little bit deeper into that later on. But the first step is just labeling the buckets, these broader areas of your life. So to give you an example, one of my buckets is a family bucket. Okay, and inside that bucket are all of my family relationships and roles and kind of the to-dos that come with that. So my role as a mom and my relationships with my kids, my role as a wife and my relationship with a husband, with my husband, not a husband, mine, as well as my relationships with my sister and my extended family and my husband's side of the family. All of those different pieces, they all fit into the family bucket, right? So another one of my buckets is home. What does it take for us to be able to live in and maintain and enjoy our home? I have a bucket for my business. I have a bucket for myself. And right now, those are my 4 main buckets. Now, these are pretty consistent, right? Like, most of my family relationships are not going anywhere. Hopefully none of them. But the idea that I have family relationships in general, like that bucket's always going to be there. No matter where we're living or what our home looks like, there's always going to be things related to my home, right? So the buckets you can think of as being solid, being consistent. The contents of those buckets might change and shift over time. So the relationships, the tasks, even the values and goals and priorities, depending on your season of life that are in those buckets, will shift and change. All right, so you can kind of think of it that way. So I want you to take a moment and jot down 3 to 5 key areas of your life that are your main buckets. And I would love it even more if you would drop them in the comments too. Let us know, are yours the same as some of the ones I shared? Do you have different ones that you want to share with us? What are these big picture areas of your life? Now, the next thing that we're going to do is think a little bit more deeply about each of these. So within each bucket, write down values or ideas or words that come to mind when you think of that. Okay? So, for example, let's see. If I were writing down some words for my home bucket, they might be things like simple, natural, welcoming, inviting, safe. There might be different words, and there's no right or wrong here. Obviously, we are all going to have different things that come up for us for the different areas of our life, and they're going to change over time, right? So just right now in this season, what are some values or ideas or words that come to mind for each of your buckets? I think I'm realizing now I might actually make a quickie little worksheet for this and leave it in the comments, because you're probably going to want to think on this a little bit more than the 30 seconds that I'm giving you before I move on to the next step. But then the next step that we're going to do is the one where I think it starts to get really fun, and you really get to start daydreaming and brainstorming and imagining, like in your ideal life, what these different areas could look like. And so it starts to get kind of exciting, right? So you have some kind of ideal words, values associated with these buckets. And now I also want you to answer 3 questions for each of them. All right, the first question: what is one thing that is going really well and feels really good right now? All right, what's one thing that you are loving about each of those areas of your life? The second question is, what is one thing that's a little rough, a little shaky, a little messy, a little stressful that you would like to improve? And jot something down for each of your buckets. And then the final question is, what is one thing that you'd like to add or you'd like to see more of in each of these buckets? And that's the question that I love, because that's where we're trying to get to ultimately, right? Is creating space for more of the things that you want, for more of the things that are fun and joyful and that make you feel just like thrilled with your life, you know? So those are the 3 questions that I want you to answer for each bucket. First, what is one thing that is going really well and feels really good? Second, what is one thing that is a little rough or messy or stressful that you'd like to improve? And 3, what is one thing that you want to add to each bucket that would bring you joy? So by the time you've completed this exercise, what you've done is basically created the outline of a vision of what you want your life to be like, to look like, to feel like. And you've identified the main buckets or areas of your life that you want to focus on and started to dig into what's really important to you in each of these areas. Where you're struggling, where you want to go, right? I mean, that is huge. That is the foundation. Once you have these things figured out, then you can actually make a plan to do it, right? You actually know where you're trying to go. And these buckets and the goals and priorities that go along with them are going to come into play when you start looking at your time, when you're looking at your calendar, your schedule, your to-do lists. This gives you a place to come back to and see if the things that you're putting on your calendar or your task list are actually aligned with what you've already decided is most important to you. It gives you a touch point to come back and be like, oh, I've been asked to do this thing. I could do it, but does it fit with my goals for the big picture of my life right now? And sometimes the answer will be yes, and sometimes the answer will be no. But all of this is going to give you the information to make a more intentional decision about what you're committing to and what you're saying, you know, I don't think that's for me right now. So this is an exercise that I take my clients through one-on-one on a little bit deeper level, and we get super clear on the priorities, and then we move on to create a plan that's just for you to actually make your daily life reflect the things that are most important to you, to reflect those things that you want to see more of in your buckets. It's about feeling good in your own life, feeling like yourself, feeling like your life reflects all the different sides of who you are, all those different personality traits and strengths and skills and interests and desires. Like, I want you to wake up feeling excited about at least one thing in your day every single day. I want you to feel in control of your day and how you spend your time. I want you to go to bed at night feeling satisfied and whole and like you did something that day that mattered to you, right? Not like we survived it, not like we just made it through and finally we get to go to bed, right? Sometimes we are tired at the end of the day and we are glad it's time to go to bed. But I want there to be something you can look back on in that day and be like, yes, that was me. That was what I want, right? I want you to have more of those moments where you're feeling so much joy that you think your heart might burst. This is like a major, I don't know, a goal for me, for myself, and for people that I work with, is to have that feeling that like, I'm so happy right now, I couldn't be any better. That's what we're trying to do. That's what I want for you. And if you want those things too, if you're ready to stop feeling like there's stuff swirling all around you and you don't know where to start, you're trudging through your days, or you just don't feel like you're living in alignment with what you believe is the most important to you, if your beliefs and your values aren't matching your actual daily life, I can help you with that. I would love to talk to you and learn all about your home and your business, these buckets in your life that you've identified, and what really makes you feel most like yourself, what you want to experience more of. So you can book a free call with me right now. We get 45 minutes, just you and me, to talk about all of these things and really dive into that vision that you have for yourself. So I will leave a link in the comments. I can't wait to talk more, and I will absolutely see you back here next week. Leave me notes about what you come up with your buckets. I cannot wait to see all of your ideas and plans. All right, bye.